I talk to people that they go and start the process of buying a home without an agent, and they want to make sure that they I don't know if they're trying to see if they can save money, or they're doing this because they feel like an agent is not going to help them. But why in the world would somebody go and look for a home that is such a huge investment for them and go and do it themselves when there's no experience behind them and there's nobody there to consult and making sure that they're doing the right steps?
Yeah, yeah. And you do find that, that there's a lot of that activity. And what I generally find when I'm out in the field, when assisting clients, then I run into, those who are out there just kind of independently on their own, is that, either they're just, the type of people who like to go out and just cruise neighborhoods and, see homes and walk through new construction to get some ideas about how they can re-outfit their own home. But then you have some who are out there who are actually interested in purchasing a home, but they're going it on their own. And when I have an opportunity to speak with those individuals, generally what I find is they have been provided, wrongful information. They've been told that, in order to have an agent represent you, it's kind of like an attorney. You've got to, enter into this huge retainer agreement and put forth $5,000, or, then you kind of spin down. So there's some myths out there about, working with agents. And so I think, to this question, I think it's important for me and me and you to clarify for the buyers and the listeners that, and I said this early on, the majority of sellers have representation, an agent representing them. And it's important also that buyers have agents representing them, because at the end of the day, when you like a home, there still has to be an offer to purchase. There's then, once it's accepted, there's then the contract, because it's now ratified. And then both the seller and the buyer have performance expectations under that contract. The selling agent's not going to help you, right, to perform under that contract because they're not representing you, okay? And so it's best that you have an agent, available to assist you, with being on that part of it, right, being able to manage the contract and what your obligations and responsibilities are under the contract. But not just that, but, to help you, as you were saying, Fernando, on the front end of it, to understand, right, the home that you're looking at, to not only get you access, but maybe there's some information, that's included for agents only, right, that, the general public can't see. There are disclosures, as you very well know, that you and I get to, go through for each home where we have interested clients. And if there's something in the disclosures, we want to be able to have that conversation with our clients because it, could make the difference of whether or not they want, to put an offer in on the home or not. But it's important that, again, and I say it with emphasis, not just because, I mostly represent buyers, but it is absolutely important that, buyers, would obtain buyer representation because the process is complex, right? There are a lot of moving parts, and we talked about some of those already. And in order to get to the finish line most effectively and most efficiently, a buyer's agent can support and assist you in getting it done.
Yeah, and it's a great point what you say at the beginning that this is not going to cost money because the commissions that the sellers pay on those commissions is part of that is going to pay for the buyer to have representation, and that is the good thing about buyers. You should, if you're not going to pay for a buyer's agent, then it behooves you to try to find the best agent out there, the person that is going to have the most knowledge and the one that's going to help you. And that is always something that I always say to people. You need to consult with people. You need to talk to people, have a feel with your agent, because you're going to go through an arduous road getting to the final point of buying a home. and that person has to become your friend, and that person is going to stop you from doing things that you should not be doing for your own benefit, and you have to follow their advice. So you have to trust that person, and that person has to be the right person for you, and that is really what is going to be the end result for you, whether you're going to have a good experience or a bad experience.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Again, for the buyer who says, I'll just drive up to the home and I'll call the listing agent and I'll ask the listing agent to come in and let me in the house. Well, again, the listing agent does not work for you and can never work for you. And so even if they let you into the house to see the house, they are still in their capacity, right, working with the selling, their client on the selling end. They can never represent you. And so if you want your interest, to be protected and someone to be on your side at 100%, again, assisting and supporting you, you need to have buyer representation. And it comes with no cost. The seller pays my commission, not you.
Well, that brings me to something I just remembered. Now we're talking about some examples, and I want to give this example as a listing agent because I had a listing in Germantown a few years back, and somebody called me and they told me that they were interested in the property. They were asking me questions on the phone, and then during our conversation, I found out that this person's sister lived in the same subdivision, and they were very close together. And one of their wishes that they were looking for was that their kids grew up with their cousins on the same neighborhood and going to the same school. So that was a great thing to know as a listing agent, because then later on I found out that she had an agent, and they called and they went to an agent, and then long story short, they come and send us an offer. And when they send the offer was a lot less than what we were asking for. But then when I told my seller, this lady really wants this house because her sister lives here, so we are not going to drop the price that low. Right. So why don't we do it a counter, for the same asking price and see what they say.
Right.
We were in a good, and this is the part of the business that a lot of people don't understand. When it comes to business, as long as that we're ethical, my main protection is towards my seller, because they're the ones that hire me to sell the house for the most money. Just like if you hire Jeff for your agent as a buyer, he's the one going to be protecting your best interest. So for me, I protect my seller's interest, and what is his interest? To making sure that get as much money for the house as possible. And that's what I intend to do. And this is the reason why everyone needs representation. Seller needs one, and the buyers need one.
Fernando, that's such a great point. And I just want to make sure that you don't miss what you just said. And so I want to bring it a different way, although it's not a true example. I just want to draw an example. If you as a buyer have a listing agent to support you in getting into a home to preview, and then that listing agent asks you a simple question: oh, are you going to be able to purchase this? Have you been approved? What is your approval rate? And they're selling the house for $450, and you say, oh, I've been approved for $550. And then you go back 2 days later, you submit an offer for $400,000. You've already told the listing agent or the selling agent that you've been approved for way over what they've listed the home for. So, and that's information that they can absolutely use, right, in their decision making on whether to accept the offer or to say, no, I'm not going to sell it to you for $400. I'm going to sell it to you for $450. Okay, because you've already told them you've been approved for much higher. So a buyer's agent, right, representing you, helps to keep you tempered. Okay, we're going to make certain that you're not saying what you shouldn't be saying publicly. We're going to make certain that your interest is protected, because when we want to negotiate pricing, we want to make certain that we know what you can do and the other team does not know, so that we can get you the best deal.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a great point, Jeff.